Because of their difficulties with social skills, autistic children often struggle at school and can feel alone and isolated. Up to 55% of parents with children with autism believe that their child is not in the right school to best support them. However, here at the Medway Autism Group and Information Centre, things are a little different. I'm Joseph Kedwell, and this is where the magic happens. The Medway Autism Group and Information Centre, known as MAGIC, was formed in 2006 by CEO Gaynor Simmons to provide information and support to families living with autism.
When lots of parents that were at my son's school, he was at specialist school, were saying that they didn't know where to get information about activities for kids with autism or support or help with that. And when I investigated, there was nothing out there. And I first started it with an evening session down at Monkey Biz, which is in the soft play centre. From that, I realised that the parents really just needed to talk to each other. So I started a coffee morning at a youth club called Woody's, and it kind of took off from there, really.
In 2013, Gaynor and a team of dedicated staff opened this additional resource centre. Known as the Magic Arc, the all-day tutoring service is designed for autistic children who struggle in mainstream schools but aren't severe enough to go to a specialist school.
I used to teach the person who established the charity's son for 4 or 5 years for the National Autistic Society, and on the basis of my performance there, they asked me to help open Magic's first school and run it because I'd already retired. I managed it for a year, established the timetable and lessons and the attitude, etc., etc.
Autism is a lifelong developmental disability that affects around 700,000 people in the UK. That's more than 1 in every 100. It is a spectrum condition that affects people in different ways, although all people with autism experience some level of difficulty with social communication, social interaction and social imagination, sometimes known as the triad of impairments. This can sometimes make educating children with autism difficult.
The most challenging part of this job is trying to guide the children, really. You get a lot of swearing, obviously, and you get a lot of bad behaviour, but I do think in this room we're beginning to get on top of that. They do need a lot of routine, they need a lot of visual aids, and they need to know exactly what's going on and when.
It's very different to mainstream. It's quite manic. It took me quite a while to get used to the kind of things that we do. If children are having a bad day, we'll whisk them off somewhere to divert them, or and the physical contact was quite a novelty, because in mainstream schools you're absolutely not allowed to touch the children at all.
But educating autistic children is not only difficult for the teachers, as 10-year-old Marshall found out at his old mainstream school.
Well, they used to lock me in a room.
The school?
The school, yeah.
But why did they do that?
I don't know, they couldn't really contain me when I was angry, so they just locked me in a room.
And how did that make you feel when you were put in that room?
Trapped. You just couldn't do anything.
I would say that when they come to us, they've had such a negative experience of education, or they've experienced sort of teachers that haven't understood them. So for a child with autism, if they don't feel someone understands them, they put a barrier up and they won't communicate with them anyway. So for us, it's been about, giving them positive experiences of education, and I think that's the most important thing we can give them, is that actually it doesn't have to be that bad.
If I had exams or when I was going to go into drama and stuff, I always used to get panic attacks and I'd feel really ill. It's a lot easier to be here because there's not loads and loads of people like other schools, so you can get to know everyone and you feel safe and at home and stuff like that.
It's a lot easier than a mainstream school. It's not as rushed. You've more time to do stuff.
Obviously, what we also wanted to do is stop the kids arriving at school stressed out. So for that reason, we laid on our own transport. So they are picked up by our staff. Our staff are the escorts on the bus. They bring them into school. They're here all day with them, and then they take them home. So it's about that continuity. When they arrive at school about 9 o'clock, they do sensory circuit because they've all travelled. What they need is a bit of physical exercise straight away to relieve all that tension of sitting still for 35 minutes or 40 minutes or longer if the traffic's bad.
And all the staff here seem to agree that this is a really rewarding job.
The owner of the charity's son now is a very useful staff member here. I taught him for 4 years. He learnt the skills to socialise, to share, to become part of a team, and I now have a first-class colleague working with me, and on the basis of his opinion I'm working here because he said I can do it, and that's someone who's on the autistic spectrum, who's experienced my teaching and given me that reference.
And for Gaynor, she can't imagine doing anything different.
It's a really rewarding job. It's probably the best job I could have chosen in the world if I could choose it myself, because you get to make a real difference to people's lives. You get to change how they are and how they think about the world, and they can view it a bit more positively when they've been here.